start with the short meditation, so don't be afraid. Again, if you can sit with an upright body, and if you can keep that posture for at least, like say, 15 to 20 minutes, then it's fine to sit on the floor. If you cannot, then much better to go and sit in a chair, because you'll be much more comfortable. Because if you don't have the strength to keep the body upright, like the upper body, then you need to pull together a lot of muscles in order to be able to sit. And much better to sit in a chair. You need less support, like to have the back straight. But if you can sit on the floor, then that's fine. So then again, as always, the way we begin, you connect to the body. And you check these points. First the legs. Or sitting on a chair, you try to have the knees a bit apart so that it also makes a triangle. If you're sitting on the floor, they are cross-legged. They're crossed. Either one in front of the other, or one or both feet on top of your thighs. Try not to tuck them under, because that cuts the circulation. So you go to that area and you look how it is there. Is it tense? Is it relaxed? By breathing in, you're aware of the area. By breathing out, you let go of all tensions. And you let go of the tensions in that area. So you really kind of focus the mind on your feet and on your legs. If the mind moves away, gets entangled in thoughts, just don't get upset, don't get frustrated. It's totally normal. The moment you notice it with your introspection, the spy that kind of looks whether you're doing what you're supposed to do, you bring it back. No need to make stories, no need to be frustrated. It just complicates the situation. Then you focus on your arms and hands. Your hands are either lying on your knees, palms facing downward. That really makes them relaxed. Try not to make them too heavy. And your elbows are extended from the upper body a bit, so that the air can travel through. Or your hands are in your lap. Left hand is supporting the right hand. If you are used, because you are doing yoga and you're meditating, you're used with your palms facing upwards and your thumbs, and I think it's the index finger touching, that's fine if you are used to that. But if you're not used to any particular position, then choose either one of those. Hands in your lap, thumbs touching, left hand supporting right hand, or the hands in a very relaxed way resting on your knees, with palms facing downward. So you are aware of that point, or these 2 points, hands and elbows. By breathing in, you just experience them, you feel them, you're there with these points. And by breathing out, you open up. Then you focus on your spine. And mentally you give the spine the strength to hold, so that all the muscles around it can relax. See whether it's straight but not rigid. And at the same time you will feel, when you sit like this, that the chest opens up. And here, especially important, when you breathe in, you are aware of that area. And when you breathe out, you think all the muscles relax, down to the cells. And having the image of little flowers, like the cells being little flowers opening up. Very often that is helpful. Then you focus on your shoulders. There also you kind of hold a lot of tensions. So let them drop, don't pull them up. And again with the out breath, try to deepen the relaxation. Try not to move. Just do it with your mind. Really go to the area. Be there when you breathe in. Don't be afraid of anything. Keep the mind there with your in-breath as you breathe out. You have this image of opening, becoming soft, flexible. Very often we're not aware of small tensions, so all we have to do is to be in that area. We notice it, and then immediately, without us having to give any command, the muscles that we are holding relax. This is what awareness can do for you. Knowing it, being aware of it. Then the face. So with the face is like the tongue would be lying on the palate. Your jaws totally relaxed. No tensions behind or around the eyes. And also you check your front. The same thing. With the in-breath, you are in that area, totally experiencing it, feeling it, being aware of it. With the out-breath, you deepen the relaxation by letting go of all muscles. So with time we will be able to sit relaxed but awake. But we need to let it happen, we cannot look for it. So if you are following the instructions, the being relaxed and awake will happen by itself. So then on this spiritual path, what is very important is that we have joy. And that will be the goal, to have lasting joy. Not a excited joy, but being totally open, awake, joyful, almost playful. Not taking ourselves so seriously anymore, but also not neglecting ourselves. Kind of the middle way. And a big part of it is appreciation. So we can start to appreciate our situation. We still have almost a full day to understand these methods, so that then we can apply them. We have all the conditions together. Place where to practice, other people around us that practice with us. We don't have to worry about the food, we don't have to cook. The methods are still being practiced, but also an appreciation for you, that you made the effort to come here, that you are interested in transforming the mind into love, compassion, joy and equanimity, or just in a simple way to be interested in having an open and a good heart. Isn't that wonderful? It's very rare. So we don't know how long that will last, that interest or the outside conditions. So for the moment, we just appreciate. So then once the mind is up, and you feel that opening and that quiet joy of having the freedoms to practice, of having the things that we need in order to practice, then you can start to think about something that is not so pleasant, which is that situation for sure will not last. Even if I practice until my last day in this body, I will die. But even before, so many things can happen that I lose interest or I don't find the conditions anymore. So again, instead of making us depressed when we think about this, once you get used to the idea that everything finishes, then the appreciation of the present moment deepens. And then you start to set priorities. What is really important for me? So this is, I cannot tell you that, you have to find it. So ask yourself, what is essential in my life? What is important? The way I'm being treated or the way I treat others? Usually we have a lot of expectations how others should treat us, but we have no control over them. You can't force somebody to like you. Whereas if we decide that what is important for me is how I treat others, there you can do something. It needs effort and knowing the methods, but it's possible. And we can fine-tune it by thinking, what are the qualities that I want to develop, to nourish? And then to develop some kind of devotion to the practice that would nourish those qualities. There's no point of hoping and having a lot of fears that things should happen or will happen with the fears. These two attitudes don't help. Fear doesn't keep away what you don't want, and hope doesn't give you what you want if you don't create the conditions. But from time to time to become really clear, what do I really want? What will be important for me when I die? What kind of life would I want to have lived? This might bring some change and transformation. And then when we are aware of what we want, what is important for us, then we have to see, can I do this alone? Do I know how to nourish these qualities, or is there just a hope and the waiting for them to develop automatically? So when we become aware that we do need help, then we look for something that is reliable. Something that maybe already at the beginning you can feel some slight change. Something that when you practice it, doesn't take too long for you to see that it works. And then we entrust ourselves to these methods. And then the devotion doesn't just go towards developing these qualities, but also towards these methods. The tools that we are using in order to transform the mind. So sometimes we lose it a bit and we lose our devotion, our inspiration. We become lazy, bored. Yeah, I heard this before. Nothing changes. So then it's really good to go back to the beginning of your path. By remembering what brought me to this path. And then to see if that mind that says, well, nothing has changed, see if that mind is realistic and telling you the truth. Or if it's just too lazy to continue. So never forget, and from time to time go back to that moment when you decided that you want to do spiritual practices. Just to ask yourself, what brought me to this path? And then very often when we see that we had quite clear intentions when we started, and maybe the goal is not reached yet, then very often the inspiration comes back, we feel refreshed, we remember what is really important for us, and we just continue. So how are you? Huh? Fine. Okay. Good. Anybody else? How are you? Huh?
Very good.
Very good.
Much better.
Huh?
Much better.
Much better than what? Okay. Of course, you know, I'm like anybody else, makes me happy when you say I'm fine. But even though if you would say, well, I'm really not good, it's okay. Yeah, this is the question that we have to ask ourselves sometimes. See, we push ourselves to be well all the time. But we're not well all the time. And then we have a tendency to suppress and not wanting to see, because also maybe we're lazy and then we don't apply the right methods and we just let it slither and let it slide until then it becomes a really big problem. So, for the moment in your meditation practice, like one of the 4 immeasurables also is equanimity, so we try to be really, to let go, to let things be the way they are, so that they show us their nature. So it's quite okay to let go of your expectations of wanting to be good and wanting to feel open all the time and wanting to be wonderful and all this. So, but that needs effort, because a mind that is seeking happiness wants to have it now, and that is attachment. So then we have problems of accepting on a deeper level when we are not well. Yeah? But a part of your meditation practice or your spiritual practice is to see very deeply why you are not well. And then we start to see, actually, I'm not well because I don't have the right approach, for example, to the situation. Or because I'm exaggerating, or because I'm not realistic, or because, again, I'm totally fixated on myself. Yeah? Or I hope others to be nice to me and to love me, but then I behave in a total egoistic way, so then I make it very difficult for others to like me. Yeah? So on one hand, we want others to like us, but then we're not really totally ready to make ourselves likable also. But again, everything I'm saying can go into total hypocrisy, that you are behaving in a way because you want others to like you, and so forth and so on. Okay? Okay? So I think that's one of the most difficult things, to let go of that expectations that if I come out of this retreat, in order for this to have been a good retreat, I have to feel good. And when you don't feel good, you think it's not working. So if you go to a Lama and you tell him or her, wow, I'm such a great meditator, I sit down, cross my legs, and I feel very blissful and very, very focused, and everything opens up, and blah, blah, blah. And then they say, oh, be careful, I think you fall into subtle dullness. That you withdraw the mind too much from what is happening. You're not aware anymore. It's that stage before going to sleep. If you go and say, I think I can't meditate because I'm restless and I'm full of pain and I get angry and all these kind of things, then they're actually quite happy. Because they say, wow, you really see what it means to be in a human body. You really start to get to understand the first noble truth. So many people come to meditation because they think that's, it will make them feel better, it will make them feel more open and all this. And at the beginning, I think it definitely works, because at the beginning, you still have a lot of energy to practice, you sit down with a lot of joy, you go to your group, and all this. Then with time it starts to fizzle out a bit, the interest, and you get what is called being bored with Dharma. And being bored with all these analytical meditations means we don't do them long enough until we feel something shifting. Like for example, 1 year in Bern, Geshe-Tashi, because we have meditation evenings every week. So Geshe-Tashi told me to meditate with them on kind of wanting to get out of samsara. It's called renunciation. So you have to think about the disadvantages of being samsara again and again and again. And I said, oh Geshe-la, I don't know, we don't have so many people who come for meditation. We have a lot of people who come for the teachings, but when it comes down to the meditation, it's like, So I said, if I meditate with them on renunciation for like 3-4 months, they will stop coming. It was exactly the opposite. At the beginning, they were totally depressed. But something kind of made them come back, because when you meditate on the first noble truth and on the second noble truth, and we see how deep-seated these imprints and these habits and these patterns are, you really think like, there is no chance for me to get out of this. Yeah. But as you kind of look at them again and again and again and again and again and again, something shifts. And then instead of being depressed in the situation that we are, the mind shifts and looks forward and is happy that, wow, there is a way out. Even though that way out is very difficult, but still, it creates devotion and inspiration. So I was very grateful, and I see that this is the mistake that we're making. The ones who are in Dharma practice, like engage in Dharma practice, keep with one topic until you're bored to death, and then the mind opens up, and then it can go deeper. Because also, you see, the ego clinging kind of attitude doesn't like these kind of arguments, because it has to say, yeah, I know I'm stupid. Yeah, I know I'm looking in the wrong place. Yeah, I know it's my fault. So it doesn't want to, it wants to be well. Now, it's like a spoiled kid. It goes and looks for distraction everywhere that make me feel good. And then the short-term feeling good, we don't care about the long-term consequences about not feeling good anymore, or even falling to the lower states. That's the problem. So that's why it's good to hear these things again and again and again and again and again. And for that, the Lamrim is perfect. Some of you might know it. It's a text that is called The Graduated Path to Enlightenment. Okay? Okay. So we were still with these 4 immeasurables. Yesterday we talked about love and about compassion. So these mental states are kind of, if you nourish them, they become an antidote for your negative states of mind, okay, that are opposed. But you need to nourish them when you are kind of, okay, you cannot generate love for somebody when you are angry at them. Because love and anger is totally opposite. Yeah. So we talked about desire. We talked about that desire also has some advantages. It makes you interested. It wakes you up. It makes you engage with the world and this and that. So when we talk about anger or aggression, and then also we have to be careful. Not all strong energy like this is harmful. You can use that when you get angry, you can use it to make a step back, because again, our more or less okay mind states, we don't notice them. So these very strong mind states, if you practice, but only if you practice, if you don't practice, you will not notice anything. But they bring you back into the present, so we use them as help. Don't be so afraid of them. And we see where we are. So if you are able, with awareness, to see the energy rushing to the heart, usually it's like it's a chemical reaction, that's all it is. We make such a big fuss about it, but actually it's just a chemical reaction. So when you feel it, and you have the ability to make the step out of it, to watch it, And then really to ask yourself, what needs are not fulfilled here? Why am I getting angry? Because then you are actually not in the anger anymore, but you're in a mind state of watching, of awareness, of asking a question, even of compassion for myself. Otherwise, especially as a spiritual practitioner, because you hear that you should not get angry, then you suppress it, or you feel ashamed, and you start to be angry at yourself for getting angry and these kind of things. You will get angry for a long time. But if you train awareness, and your goal is to train awareness to see those negative mind states, so that you can say stop and you can pause. It must be a conscious step to say stop. It will not stop by itself, because what the mind is doing, because we like this energy, that's the problem. It gives us energy, and we think with anger we are protected, isn't it? The needs are not getting fulfilled, so what anger is doing, either it kind of shuts out or protects me from the things I don't want to have, or it will give me what I want. This is how stupid we are. Do you like to give something to somebody when they demand it with an angry mind? Do you give it with joy and with an open heart? And you think, wow, that person really needs this. I better give it to him or to her right now. Do you react like this? Okay. So why does our anger think that this person now will give me what I want if I get angry? That's what anger says. When you get angry at somebody who doesn't want to give you what you want, isn't it? Yes or no? Otherwise, why would we use it? Then also kind of, chasing people away with anger, that is definitely possible. Like with anger, you do get results, it's true. But these results, unfortunately, they're not, in the long run, unfortunately, they're not creating harmony. They're not creating open hearts. And they don't even create real safety. Because anger hurts. Have you experienced that? When somebody got angry at you, that it hurts. Everybody? So that means when we are angry at somebody else, we also hurt them. Because anger has, when we talk about this unwholesome anger, okay? I'm not talking about frustration. I'm talking about unwholesome anger that has the wish to harm in it. Unconsciously, in a way. Okay? And it's only with awareness you start to see that your mind at that moment is malicious, is vicious. It doesn't even care whether you hurt the other person. And then, on the other hand, if you see it, it even makes you happy. Now again, if you have a lot of anger or you met anger, better would be if you see that you have a lot of anger. Do you have control over that anger? Yes or no? No. Absolutely not. If it arises, it arises. If you don't have the right tools, if you have the right tools and you can say stop, not to suppress it but to watch it, then you change the object. The anger needs to stay with the object in order to get the fuel, to see the unpleasantness of that person or the situation or whatever. So the angry mind, because it's hungry, it wants fuel. So it goes there, it stays at the object, and it doesn't notice what is going on. So awareness, you can have awareness of an outside object, but when we talk about awareness, we talk about what's going on in the mind. So when you, almost with force, you take your attention away from the object and you go inside and you start to analyze that sensation. The moment you take away the object, the unpleasant sensation collapses. Maybe not immediately, because the mind will kind of go out and out and out and out again in order to get some fuel. But. But if you stay inside, you will see quite quickly, then you start to have, well, not control over what arises, but whether you want to continue with that mind or not. But again, for that, you need awareness. This is why we're training it. Yeah. But when we look, and when we start to ask, okay, why did I get angry? What are the needs that did not get fulfilled? So what usually are the needs that are not getting fulfilled when you're getting angry? Oh, Nurit, I'm sorry, you have to talk much louder so I can hear you.
Because we expect things to be as we expect them, or...
Yeah, so, but I would like to have some specific situations. Why are we getting angry, for example? Huh? When you're tired, this is very good. So, but then still we blame it on the other. Yeah. So this would be very wise. When we are tired and when we are unhappy already, the smallest thing just makes us fly off the handle. When we don't have time, when we're stressed and somebody wants something from us, we are not able to explain in a very quiet way, hey look, I don't have time. The kind of, I don't have time. Yeah, we think that then it becomes more effective or whatever. Okay, when you're tired, that's a good thing. So what's the antidote to that? You don't know, Yasmin? What's the antidote to tiredness? Huh? What is the antidote to tiredness? Sleep. Rest, sleep. That is the antidote to tiredness. Don't spend half the night on the telephone or on the internet or whatever. You know, drag yourself from there. Okay, tiredness, that's an inside condition. What else?
Promises are not kept.
Promises are not kept. Because we keep all our promises, always. Yeah, this is it. We become very righteous. You see, like, for other people, the ethical standard for other people, we put up very, very high. They have to keep all their promises because why? Not because of them, but because I trust them. And then we feel stupid when they don't keep them. Yeah. So it's kind of, I give you my trust, but then you have to keep your promise, because otherwise, that's it. I get angry at you. Yeah. So that's one thing. Promises are not. So don't make any promises anymore, because people just get disappointed. You can say, okay, I'll try to be honest with you. Maybe I'll succeed, maybe I don't, but honestly, I would like to be honest. I would like to keep my promises, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep them, for example. Yeah? And then you don't put yourself so much under stress, and also the other person is warned that maybe you're not as integral as we usually think. Yeah? So the ethical standard for others is very high. Our own ethical standard, well, I did it because lots of excuses of not being ethical. Yeah? And we don't even notice it, how unfair we are. You can turn your frustration of unethical behavior towards yourself if you have healthy self-confidence. If you don't have it, then leave it aside. You are not allowed to touch on your negative sides if you have low self-confidence. You're not allowed. It's going to be poison. So first, if you feel that you have low self-confidence, you need to think about your qualities again and again and again and again and again until it comes up. The kind of, I'm actually quite okay kind of feeling. Okay? But no, we want to go to the most difficult thing, we want to work with these negative emotions, and then we don't have the wisdom. Yeah? It's the same as a child. A child who is quite strong and does some stupid things, you can say, hey, stop it. An other child who is very weak and is not so sure whether he's going to be loved or not, it gets afraid and locks up. So the same way as a good mother checks her children what they can take and what they cannot take, the same way we should be good mothers to ourselves and see, what do I need now at the moment? And many of us are far too hard with ourselves. Many of us. far too hard. Because again, comes down to the same problem. We don't know our nature. Or if we heard it, we don't trust it. And we identify with these negative emotions. Okay, promises are not kept. Mm-hmm.
I'm usually angry when people are angry at me.
Yeah, when somebody is aggressive with us, we respond with aggression. Natural response. Thinking, why do we do it? Why do you think we get angry?
Feel attacked.
We're attacked, so we take anger as protection and attack the other. Also, this kind of technique here, I'm not criticizing you, okay? I'm not sure. Can you take it if I say it? Because you see, it's foreigners that see these things. It's foreigners that go like, what's going on here? Because I'm not used to such behavior. So at one point, somebody cheated me in the market, and I noticed it. Yeah. In Tel Aviv. Shuka Carmel, instead of 3 shekel per 100 gram, he charged 8. And I bought 2 kilos of it. So, but then it wasn't enough. It was ketzach, so it wasn't enough. So I needed to go to another shop to get the quantity that I needed, and there it was 3 shekel. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed it. I have no clue how much these things cost, and I'm quite trusty. So I went back and I said, "Look, I bought this down there. It's 3 shekel. I bought yours, which are dirty, because I also said, hey, they're dirty." He said, "Yeah, you can clean them." So it's fine. I can clean them. So I said, "This is 3 and this is 8. So what do you think?" I wasn't angry. He got so angry at me. First thing he asked, "Where are you from? From Germany?" And I said, "No." And then he checked, and then I said, "Excuse me, you cheated me. So I am the one who should be angry, but I'm not. Why are you angry?" And he went on, wah, 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 wah. But his wife, who actually had sold me, she was the wife who had cheated me, she went back to the box with the money. She took the seeds that she had sold me, she took the seeds and she gave me back the money. But this is, and I see this, you know, when people make a mistake here, before somebody else attacks them, they attack. And then, if that happens to you, you can say, "Excuse me, I'm not the one who made the mistake." And if you can say that in a calm and quiet way. So what I also noticed here is like emotions are high very quickly. But also they calm down very quickly if somebody is calm. Because also the other day I was in the supermarket and it was a bit of a balagan with one woman being in tears and, burn out, I don't know what, and the other machine not working, and people jumping queues, going here and there. And so the woman who was in front of me, she went to the other day, and then they didn't work, so she came back and she went in front, which for me is totally okay, because she was in front before. But she kind of thought, usually it would not be okay, kind of thing. So she kind of looked at me and she said, "Well, it doesn't work over this." I said, "Yeah, I know it. I saw it. It's okay." And then, it's only then that she noticed that I'm not dressed like everybody. And she looked at me and she says, "What's this costume here?" So I said, "Oh, I'm Buddhist nun." Then she said, "Oh, do you know Susan Diane?" So I said, "Yeah." So immediately we started the conversation. And because the two of us were so calm and not worried,